And welcome to episode 10, the perfect 10 of
Yep,
Kayfabe is not dead.
we
We,
made it, double digits.
I still can't believe it.
Can
Uh,
I just point out one thing? Doesn't it seem kind of peculiar how our champ, our own version of Brock Lesnar, once again has not shown up?
I mean, I would say, more power to him. If and when I ever win the belt, I'm totally taking some time off. That's the champion's advantage. You apparently don't need
Yeah,
to defend your championship. He's
don't have to show
instituting
up for 6 months.
he's instituting the heel characteristic of never being here. So you know what? He kind of has to do it at this point.
Yeah,
If
but you
this
know
is
what
your
the good thing
first
though about uh,
if this is your first time tuning in, we have a predictions belt, and we'll have predictions on our next episode for every pay per view we do it. But for this upcoming one for this week, uh, Extreme Rules. I keep wanting to call it Payback, but uh, yeah, we have a championship belt that goes to the winner, and our third host, Jess, couldn't make it today. Unfortunately, he's our current champ. Dapper over here was
yeah,
the original. I'm still waiting to get mine, but my first one. But
you know what's good though
I got
about
some interesting picks for this next pay per view. So we'll see what
and we'll
happens.
get to it. We'll get to it. But you know what the good thing about not having the belt right now is? When I get it, I become the two-time champ.
So
The
yeah,
only reason why
you'll
Ric
have.
Flair is the 16-time champion is because he lost 16 times.
Well, I was about to say we should definitely have an episode where we debate on whether it's better to have one really good run or 1,000 short runs, like a. Well, I mean, and I'm sure the episode half the debate will be what exactly would qualify as a short run, because I'm sure a lot of John Cena and Ric Flair's runs were decent in length.
Yeah, but Chris Jericho had a one-day run as
Yeah,
the undisputed
exactly.
champion.
Yeah. Hey, and he was the first one. And he was the first
Yeah,
one.
Chris
Gotta,
Jericho's
gotta.
second second U.S. title was a day long.
And for people watching the video and listening to the podcast, I have a Raw as Jericho shirt on right now. So,
And I have a Bullet Club T-shirt on.
which Jericho was not a part of, but that would be amazing if he
No,
joined the club. We had
no.
Y2AJ. He should have just gotten
Yeah,
initiated into the club. Oh my god, that would have been amazing. Weren't they actually doing the club then too with Styles?
he was a part of it.
When he
But
yeah, because wasn't the
they never
Y two
mentioned it.
AJ
Kind of.
wasn't that pretty early on to when he came over?
Yeah,
So
that was I think like
he was still with
right
like
after
Anderson and
they had their little
Gallows, right?
feud. I think I might be mistaken, but I'm not sure if they've ever been on the same show together because they never wanted them to have that connotation of here's the Bullet Club.
Yeah,
They all do the two sweet symbol, but
which is the
they were
best.
never together. But I do know that Finn Balor was also part of the Bullet Club, and I think he was one of the leaders of the Bullet Club when he was over in New
Yeah,
Japan.
yeah, he was. He
So I'm
was.
surprised they
What was
don't
it? Prince
really
Devitt?
mention it.
I'm gonna mispronounce
Yeah,
it, but it was
Prince
something like that.
Devitt.
Anyway, we're getting way too sidetracked at the beginning of this episode. Today's episode is gonna be a
Got
Raw
to
and
keep it loose. Got to
we're
keep it
gonna
fresh.
combine them again. We've been going back. We've been debating back and forth on whether to do them as separate episodes or combine them all. But I think we can rush through them and get them all
Yep.
done in one episode. Because I mean we'll get into it, but it's gonna be a Raw and SmackDown recap. Next
And
episode's
make
gonna
sure
be
you
our
comment below to let us know
predictions.
what you like.
Yeah,
Do you like them
exactly.
together? Do you like them separate? Do you
Do
don't
you
like them at all?
Do you, yeah? Do you not like them at all? Please tell us that. Uh, but uh, but we start Raw off with some Miz TV, and he talks some shit, and then has Sheamus and Cesaro come out, and they say that they're tired of everyone's shit, and then Dean Ambrose comes out. So basically, they're just like they're still complaining about the Hardys' nostalgia act, um, which
But they
I
keep
mean,
beating them.
yeah, they're getting beat by the old fogies.
Yeah.
Dean says he's tired of all the talking, but Miz brings up a smart point that it would be 3-on-1 and not too good for Dean to come
It's
out and challenge them all, and then the Hardys come out, and we have
it's
our
always
match.
good. It's always good when the heel points out the obvious. But I do want to say, did you notice the way Matt Hardy ran down that ramp? Like he had two replaced hips already.
Well, I think
It just
it's
looked painful to watch.
well, it doesn't have anything to do with all the broken poses. Like, is he trying to run while he's going like this?
I don't know. Like I haven't really watched too much of the TNA broken stuff, but I mean I've seen his promos and I've seen the stuff that they do at the Hardy Complex when it was
Not the
Broken
actual
Hardy
like
versus
matches though.
Brother Nero. But I don't know how he does it during the actual TNA runs matches when he was the Broken Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
So that I wouldn't know.
Well,
But it looks painful. It looks like watching Mick Foley come down that ramp.
maybe that's maybe they're foreshadowing what'll happen at Extreme Rules.
Maybe he needs some more of that DDP yoga.
Yeah, probably. We'll have to get sponsored, and then when Matt's listening to our show, because come on, he has to be. Uh, we can sell him on DDP Yoga and get that sweet sponsorship money. So
Yeah,
contact us at KayfabeIsNotDead at
yeah.
gmail.com.
He's got it. He's got to be watching us. I mean, kayfabe is not dead. The
uh,
Matt Hardy broken gimmick is not dead.
yeah, not yet. Sheamus goes. Basically, we get a pretty standard match, but then we have a couple spots where people keep trying to get on the top rope. Sheamus goes for the top rope white noise, but gets an elbow instead. And then Jeff delivers a swanton, and they get the win. So yeah, pretty
It's always
standard
the
match.
swanton.
Yeah.
Twist of
Uh,
fate swanton.
I mean, what are the odds that Jeff does a swanton off the top of the cage? Like it's like
I
ninety
mean,
nine point nine 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 percent.
I think it's pretty good. It's just like when Chris Jericho came back that one time where he was in a cage match and all he had to do was crawl down. But instead he stood there and did just like a front flip off the cage and land on the guy.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like in like if you're actually thinking about this as a competition, and you obviously want to keep your belt, you want to keep being the champion. If you got to the top of the cage, why wouldn't you immediately climb down?
Because that's not what the fans want, CJ.
Well, they have to.
We want to see a 20-foot swanton.
Well, this is why we have to have third members to these teams like the New Day, so that they can the two people that suck and aren't a part of the actual match, they can just brawl on the outside, and then one of them gets set up on the table, and then the swantons so they win by doing a swanton off of the cage and
Hmm.
outside, kind of like mankind getting thrown off the cage.
Well, the one thing I don't understand is how it's going to work because it's supposed to be like a steel cage match, tag match.
Yeah,
So
I think the cage
does
is
your
gonna.
opponent
I think the
have to be the
cage.
one?
I think the cage
Like,
is gonna be like, it's gonna encompass more than just the ring. It's gonna have a little bit of
but so
giveaway.
it's going to be more of like a Hell in the Cell match, not so much a steel cage. Because steel cage, you either win by pin, submission, or getting out of the cage.
No, I think it's not gonna have a roof, because they're gonna want to have that swanton spot.
Yeah, but I mean, what stops Matt Hardy from climbing the cage when Jeff's in the ring fighting and just touching ground and being like, "All right, it's over."
Well, that's what I mean. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense as far as like
Yeah.
why you wouldn't do that to win.
I mean,
Like
I'm sure they've done it before, but I haven't seen a tag team steel cage match, at least in a long, long time. Because
I'm sure they've done it in the TLC. They probably had a TLC match inside a cage. If they haven't, that's insane.
I mean, I think it's just something where we're just going to forget about the stipulation of when you touch the ground outside the cage, you win, and we're just gonna have an actual
Just a
bloodbath
match
beatdown
that
brawl.
happens to have a steel cage.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. But anyway, after the match, as Cesaro and Sheamus are awkwardly retreating up the ramp, Corey Graves leaves the commentary table after getting some kind of text or tweet or something on his phone. He then goes to show Raw GM Kurt Angle, and Kurt doesn't look too thrilled. So,
Nope. That
I
it could ruin them.
yeah, it's exactly. I
But
mean, it's
I'm
all
glad.
speculation. It hasn't been confirmed exactly what it is
Yeah.
yet.
It won't be confirmed for like months.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see them doing something with Corey Graves because he's too much of a talent wasted on the announcers table.
Well,
Like,
it would be a lot better if it was just Corey Graves and Booker T. Well, that wouldn't that be amazing if that because
yeah.
they, uh, I think this is the kind of set in stone and it's like an unwritten rule for a reason. But the two man, the one color guy and the one play by play guy, it's a cliche for a reason. It's because it works. When you have three or God forbid four people on that announcers table, they can barely talk.
Well, what was tough is like back in the day when you had JR and the King or
Two
JR and
people.
Vince McMahon, like then they were kind of on equal caliber to where like Vince could say, "Oh, JR, you don't know what you're talking about," or the King could be like,
They
"Jim,
can have a
the
back and
puppies."
forth
They could have like a back and forth that made sense.
and still also communicate what the hell's going
Yeah,
on as far as the ring. Like they could have their own little mini back and forth feuds. When you have three like on Raw or four like sometimes on SmackDown, too many cooks in the kitchen.
I mean the one thing that like SmackDown, I can kind of see how that works because for some reason what they've decided it seems is that they're always going to throw in a Hall of Famer or a potential Hall of Famer on the announcers table, like Booker T, JBL, someone to where
Well, they
they could
got
be
them
the
on both right
color.
now.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like something to where they have like a little bit of the real experience talking,
Yeah.
but it seems they're always the heel or the color commentary. But now it's like you got Booker T that just kind of chimes in his 2 cents. Corey Graves is like the color, and then you got Michael Cole's the straight man. But it's like Michael Cole's here, Corey Graves is here on the totem pole of respect. So it's not like Corey Graves could be like, "Oh, Michael Cole, you suck," da da da, because Michael Cole will get him fired.
Well, I think it's more that Vince has 100% control of Michael Cole. Like, Vince is probably talking directly into Michael Cole's earpiece, and Michael
hmm
Cole is regurgitating whatever Vince McMahon is saying.
I mean, probably, but it just seems to me like when they do this, you have the two people on the outsides of the table bickering back and forth like the color commentary and the straight man are supposed
Oh,
to be.
yeah.
But then you got the middle guy who looks like he's completely, he might chime in every once in a while, but he's completely just calling the match.
Yeah.
Like it's as if there's two separate tables going on.
Yeah,
They just threw them
it
together.
is weird. I agree with you. We'll have to get Jess's opinion on the commentary
I
situation.
mean, you went to WrestleMania. You complained about how the Raw's 3 hours long and it takes forever.
Yeah,
You just sat through a 7 hour WrestleMania earlier this year
but it
with no
was
commentary whatsoever,
well,
and
it
you were
was
more
also
entertained.
it was WrestleMania, and being
Well,
there,
yeah, but I
it's
mean, I've
totally
gone to
different. But
Raws. I've gone to Raws when there's no commentary, and I felt more entertained watching the match than listening to play-by-plays. I
well,
know what a right hook looks like.
I think what you're ultimately trying to say is it's the commentary should always be the seasoning or the
Yeah,
icing on the cake, but
like Jim Ross says.
when it's bad, it's distracting from the
Yes.
main show, and that's probably the ultimate bad thing that you can do with
Yeah,
a
like
commentary.
Jim Ross says on even on his podcast, the wrestlers are the musicians, the commentary is the conductor. You never notice the conductor when you go to a concert.
You shouldn't. You
You
shouldn't.
shouldn't.
Yeah. unless
They
the
just
violin just starts playing the wrong stuff.
yeah, and then they get stunned on the stage, and the commentary goes back to the way it
Yeah.
was.
Uh, so Kurt gets the message from the one commentator. That's why we went on that tangent. But then the Drifter uh, shows up. We randomly just cut to the Drifter singing, and we get a random match against a jobber. He gets a
His name
name.
is Zach Evans.
He gets a name,
Yes.
but he doesn't get an entrance. The jobber jobs out, and the Drifter keeps drifting, and all is right with the world.
I just got one thing. When's the last time you see somebody get a pin with a swinging neck breaker?
I mean,
Like
he's
that gets bastardized more than the DDT.
I would say Elias Sampson, I believe, is what the
Hmm.
Drifter's name is. Uh, I think he's like big enough. He's like kind of like a mini Braun. He's like if
Yeah.
Braun was like not 7 feet tall. Uh, so I think you can get away with selling normal moves as finishers, especially when the other dude is like Callisto size.
I mean, I seen Elijah Sampson or Elias Sampson in NXT. I don't remember him looking that big. When he took off the scarf and everything, I was like, "Oh my God,
Maybe
that's
that's
a drifter
why.
who's camped out at Gold's Gym every day."
Maybe that's why they waited so long for him to actually wrestle. Like while, like for those what was it like a month to two
Yeah,
months that he was just randomly ever since the Superstar shakeup, he's just been drifting around on Raw. Maybe
he's
he's
drifting.
literally just been working out that entire time, and that's why they haven't had him wrestle because they were waiting for him to bulk up a little bit.
Yeah, like he was like this at first, and then he just swolled up.
Yeah.
I was like, "Geez."
Um, so yeah, I mean, he might get pushed soon,
Yeah,
kind of like how oh shit, why do I always forget his name? Baron Corbin. Just like Baron
you
Corbin's.
should forget his name.
Yeah, he looks to be getting a push, so maybe the Drifter is going to be getting a similar push soon.
I'm glad he is. I'm glad the Drifter's gonna push because I like his look, I
Yeah.
like his intensity, I like his style.
So then we get
I'm behind this.
Samoa Joe watching Finn Balor's entrance from the back. We get I believe it's Carly, right? Is she the one married to
I think
Dean?
so. Yes.
Or
Oh no, it's Renee Young.
oh, Renee Young. Okay, Carly's the other one. Okay.
Yeah.
Carly shows up and interviews him. Joe says some heel things and then gets interrupted by Bray Wyatt. Wyatt then says some cult shit and we get our match.
I just got something to say though about this Bray Wyatt thing. Like, I want him to succeed. I do. Because I think I do.
Bray, are
His
you
his
listening? I want you
his
to
gimmick is
succeed.
cool. His gimmick is cool because like I feel like it's a little bit of like the Undertaker mixed with the Ultimate Warrior. No one knows really what he's saying, but you're hanging on every word.
Yeah.
And he has that just mystique by him. But both guys, Ultimate Warrior and Undertaker, won more than 25% of their matches. Like you tell them that he's the eater of worlds and all these things, but yet he loses.
Well,
And so,
that's what
I mean,
happens when you immediately like you can lose all of your matches and still be booked to to be strong if you have a good championship reign. All of those other losses would have been completely forgotten if he actually maintained the belt on SmackDown. But because he
yeah,
immediately lost it to Randy Orton, that just perpetuated this view that he's just the ultimate jobber.
yeah, like he's a cool jobber, but he's just making it like a jobber. The only thing I would have loved to have seen is you have Bray Wyatt come onto the screen and Samoa Joe looks at it like he's interested at first,
He
and
just
then as he
walks
just
away.
keeps talking, he just turns it off. And he's like, "So Renee, back to what I was saying."
Yeah.
Like I feel like Bray's kind of like that guy where it's, "Oh, I'm gonna destroy the world because all the fireflies and the lanterns around are gonna be showing the light," and then click. So where was I, Renee?
I think this
Before I
might
was
be
rudely interrupted by this hobo.
I think this might be sacrilege, and I'm assuming they might do this more in Ring of Honor or New Japan or some of the indies. But why can't we get heel versus heel and face versus face feuds? Because ultimately, it's not really about the alignment; it's about the personalities. And
Hmm.
what exactly you just explained, and also because we have this 5-way elimination match. What if Bray and Samoa Joe get at each other and they cause each other to lose, and then they go into a feud? They will never do that, but that is
I
such a
mean,
cool concept.
yeah. I
The
mean, I
only
think
time
they
you
have
can
to
do that is if
find
you
a
flip one of
heel.
them. You'd have to
Yeah,
flip one of them face, and that's stupid. Neither one of those
that's
characters are faces.
that's usually what it ends up being is someone gets flipped. But I mean, I can see where you're coming from, where you could have a heel trying to get his heel run towards a championship, and then someone just kind of sneaks in and cuts him off,
Yeah.
to where that's going to make you mad.
And it
But
has
then
nothing.
they
It,
have
it
to
has
do
nothing to
it.
do. It has nothing to do with. Oh, they're beating up a face because they're a bad guy, or they're not doing a typical face thing versus a face. You can actually do some out of the box stuff with heel versus heel, and with the
Mhm.
face versus face stuff. Like, look how good the spoiler alert, the Seth Rollins Roman Reigns match was. That was a great match.
Yeah.
We're only
See,
getting
I
it.
think
We're only ever getting those kinds of things though because of the stipulation with the pay per view. Why can't we just get
yes,
that? They should just be
because
rotating out these people all the time. Everybody should have feuds with everybody. It's the personalities.
what I think is happening is they're not believing. Now, this is just my viewpoint. I think they're not believing in their locker room, so they have 6 guys, 7 guys tops
They have so many
of who
people
they
on
want to
Raw.
push. And I think what they're doing is they're depicting long-term feuds. And so, let's say with Bray Wyatt, we've seen him every time he's with Samoa Joe. It looks like he kind of controls Samoa until he turns on him. They're both heels. Why couldn't you just get Samoa Joe to be like, you know what? No, Bray, I'm gonna beat your ass now. And I think they look at it as like, well, now we gotta do it on this week's Raw. Then we're gonna switch it so that it's on next week's Raw where Bray wins, and then Samoa Joe wins from disqualification. Like they
Yeah.
look at like month-long programs. I think they should just keep it simple, and just Samoa Joe be like, you know what? I'm tired of this stupid Sister Abigail crap. You know what, Bray Wyatt?
All this
I'm
hocus
coming for
pocus.
you.
Yeah, all this
He's
hocus
like,
pocus
I want to
stuff.
fight
Like,
right now, tonight, and they do it. Let Samoa Joe either beat him up and break him down like they've let everyone else do it, or let Bray Wyatt beat him down and be like, that's why I control you,
well,
and then just end it like that.
Joe has the ultimate like one-liner. He could be like, "Oh, you may be the eater of worlds, but you still gotta breathe. Once and I lock
Yeah,
in that cocaine clutch, you're done. You're done,
yeah.
son."
Like they could easily make it just like a one match and done thing,
Or they could extend
and
it.
then
They could go back and
but
forth with it.
if they extend it, it gives you the opportunity to be like, you know what? I hate Bray Wyatt. I hate Samoa Joe. They're bad guys. Then you keep watching. You're like, you know what? I feel for Bray because he gets coquina clutched on a weekly basis,
He
and you start
becomes
turning him face.
so he becomes Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
Well, what
and
I'm saying
so
is you don't have to turn them face. You
no.
can
But what I'm
keep them
saying is,
both heels.
if you keep beating one person down, they're going to become the underdog, which turns them into a face. You can't go you can go the 50-50 booking
Oh yeah,
where it's
I
like,
would do the 50-50 booking because they're both supposed to be strong.
but then people hate the 50-50 booking.
I'm okay with the 50-50 booking as long as we're getting good matches. I think that's maybe with the storytelling, it doesn't service the storytelling that well, but I think
Like, you know
I
what I would like to see is I would love to see Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt go at each other. Samoa Joe's like, you know what? I'm tired of you telling me what to do, and I'm helping you out, and then you turn on me and stab me in the back. Kurt, I want to fight Bray Wyatt, and you just have Samoa Joe beat him down horribly, and then Bray's like, you know what, Joe, you're right. I'm gonna help you. Let me help you out, and then they kind of work
that
together
does
until the pay
segue.
per view, and then he turns
Well, that segues
on
perfectly
Samoa Joe.
into our match because it was a triple threat match, and we did get some Bray versus Joe stuff. Uh,
But you also got, just like in their tag matches, you get
they were
them
teaming
working
up on the
together.
face, yeah. So Joe takes out Balor pretty quickly and then goes after Bray. Finn jumps Joe and throws him to the outside. Bray then goes after Balor. Eventually, Bray hits what could be the spot of the night, where he power bombs Joe, uh, while Joe is setting up the superplex on Balor. So it was just like this whole tower, leaning tower of Pisa style, just Rube Goldberg machine where
Mm-hmm.
Bray finishes the setup. Um, Bray then hits the Sister Abigail, and then Balor hits the coup de grace on Bray. Joe interrupts Balor's pin and throws Balor into the ring post and is able to get
Steals
the
it.
pin. Yeah, so he
Yep.
gets the victory, but I thought all three of them looked good.
They did. They looked great. But like I said, you see, I believe, didn't Bray Wyatt kind of try and put Samoa Joe into the Sister Abigail? Was it this match or was it the week
He's
before?
done it a couple times. I think he tried to do it. He tried to hit somebody with it like 30 seconds into the match, and they just like pushed him off.
Yeah. But I don't know what they do with house shows because this will kind of lead into that next scene with the backstage with Seth Rollins and Roman talking about Roman Reigns. But how you were saying face versus face,
Yeah.
I I'm thinking like I don't know if they do it on house shows with Seth versus Roman all the time, but we rarely see it. So I feel like when they fight, it's kind of like, hey bud, we're doing this because I'm going for the title. No, I want the title. So it's kind of like good versus good, going for the common goal. To
And
where
you
I
can
see it work.
and you can also bring up, it can be either character, but they flip heel face all the time with the whole backstory of Seth Rollins being the one that broke up the Shield essentially by betraying them with Triple H, who eventually betrayed him because hello, it's Triple H. Uh,
Yep.
uh, you can play that into you could easily bring that up into the feud. I don't know how that doesn't get brought up, but essentially you can do that with any character though, because every character has been a heel or a face at one point
Hmm.
or another. I mean, even
They bring it up.
Mankind was a face at one point.
Yeah.
Uh,
At the
so
Rock and Sock Connection.
yeah, so you could do that. You can definitely do that with Roman Reigns and Rollins, and if you want to keep them both face, they're both good enough to where, and I am complimenting Reigns here. He has improved in the ring from what I've
Yes.
noticed.
His
Um,
promos are getting better too.
I his promos still
I
suck,
think so.
but his ring work is getting better, and Rollins is obviously great. So why don't you just have them fight? I think New Japan does this to where like if they know that they have two guys that well every single one of their guys is a good worker in the ring, just put them in the ring and let them fight.
But New Japan, they, from what I understand, with Japanese wrestling, the fans look at it as a true competition, like boxing. The boxers, before the match ever happens, the boxers really never, unless they've had a fight before, they really never know each other. Just
Until
like
you
with
get like a
UFC
trilogy,
too.
you get a trilogy and you build
And
up a
then they,
rivalry.
yeah. But that first match, they never knew each other. They just go in as like, I just know I got to beat his ass.
Well, I think it's less theatrical than as far as
The
the
showmanship and
no.
the wrestling.
Well, I don't want to I don't want to twist my words here. They are it is typical Japanese as far as it is very outlandish, and there are very outlandish weird things
I mean,
that
you
it can
got Kenny
happen.
Omega, the cleaner,
Yeah, and
who comes out with the broom.
he comes out with. I mean, there's some goofy stuff that's cool, but I think what what I'm ultimately saying is the storylines might not be as
Soap opera-ish.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Um,
The audience, our audience looks for John Cena to be Superman. The Japanese audience looks to see two guys wrestle and have a good match.
yeah, but they'll still
That's
have
what they're,
stuff.
yeah.
They'll still have stuff behind the scenes
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Just not as much as we do.
Then we
Like
get
Enzo.
Noam Dar with with Alicia Fax versus Rich Swann accompanied by Sasha Banks. Noam Dar beats the shit out of Swan for a while until Swan does the patented face comeback.
Hmm.
Swan hits a cool front flip neck breaker kind of deal on Noam Dar, but then Alicia tries to distract. Sasha Banks takes care of Fox, and Swan's able to land this kind of high risk maneuver. I don't know technically what the name of the move is. Once again, the commentary doesn't
It's
tell me
called
what it
the
is.
Phoenix Splash.
It was it the Phoenix Splash?
Yes,
Okay, I wasn't
that's why I'm
sure.
the historian.
I wasn't sure if it was technically the because there's like a couple that look kind of similar, but they're called different things.
I believe
Uh,
it's called the Phoenix Splash.
yeah, I think you're right. Then Sasha and Rich have a dance off, which I loved. Uh, I
I
would
just
love
love how she's become a ballet girl.
I would love to dance with Sasha at any time. I want to make that clear. I just want to throw that out there, Sasha. If you ever want to dance, hit me up. But I'm actually okay with it because you know what? I like 205. If this helps get 205 more eyeballs on it because the ring work is so good, then and you know what? Why don't we have more crossover? Why can't the WWE, the main roster, jump onto 205 and
That's what they
interact?
did to promote NXT. Pretty much every episode, I think. Like when I went to the tapings, they would tape 4 episodes together. And so I want to say at the end of every episode or every fourth episode, they would have a WWE guy there, whether it was Big Show coming out, Bray Wyatt, Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
They had Cesaro fighting Sami Zayn. Chris Jericho fought somebody on there. John Cena came out. Like they had a lot of big names come out there
Yeah,
to
you need
promote NXT.
something to draw. Like they need to do something to shake up 205. So I'm okay with
They
Sasha
do.
being included. Now,
Like
does that if that becomes a detriment to Sasha as far as she's not getting as much of a push on Raw, then I'll disagree with it. But
I don't think it'll be a detriment to her
if they can
because right now
maintain
we
her
have
her
too
mo
many faces.
I mean, she's kind of I don't I mean, I could just be talking out of my ass right now, but my perception is that she's pretty bulletproof right now as far as her momentum. Like she could disappear for like 6 months and come back, and the fans will love her just the same.
Yes. But what I think is what's happening, and like we talked about earlier in the podcast, we're going to talk about what means more, the number of wins or the reign of your title championship.
Yeah,
And so, I mean, what, Charlotte's 3-time or 5-time
she's pretty high up there
champion?
already. Yeah, she's had it a
It's
few
something
times.
it's something stupid in her short career in the main roster.
She'll get to 16. She might get to
She will.
17.
She'll probably beat the 16 before WrestleMania for all we know. Like they only have
Hot
so
potato
many
with
girls.
the
Yeah.
belt.
How do you think John Cena and Randy Orton got there?
Yeah.
But I mean, they only have so many girls that they just keep kind of throwing it back and forth, to where I think they need to kind of step down and maybe, like you said, put Sasha Banks on 205 to help get the crowd watching 205. I really wouldn't count on Alicia Fox to do it because she's been hanging out in the backstage area for years. I honestly thought they got rid of her until she showed up one day to beat Sasha Banks for no reason.
And you're like, whoa, she
Like,
still exists.
yeah, like she's still alive?
Yeah.
What? But I mean, they need to do something to kind of bump it up. I personally feel because it's obvious they're trying to push Big Cass on a solo run. I think you should put Enzo Amore on there. Stop having him
Dude,
fight guys that are 250
let him
plus.
actually wrestle. Let him,
Yeah, and let
dude.
him
If
wrestle.
there is one way he could improve his ring work is to be surrounded by guys that do nothing but good ring work, and then
Yeah,
he can like teach them how to actually talk into a microphone, and they can
yeah.
teach him how to do a legitimate wrestling move. It'll be
I
perfect. Why
promise
haven't
you.
they done this?
I promise you, if they do something as simple as, and this would be amazing, and I'll let WWE have the idea. But I think what they should do is put Enzo as Big Cass's manager on Raw,
Absolutely.
have him go down to 205, and have Big Cass show up with them every once in a while as the big sexy bodyguard,
Yeah, he could be
like
the
how Shawn
bodyguard,
Michaels
or he
and
could be
Kevin
the
Nash
manager.
was.
He could be the manager for Enzo
He can be
on
Enzo's
205
bodyguard.
because they don't have
Enzo can be
time.
his
They
manager.
don't have time to talk on 205, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Cass can just be there.
But just imagine Enzo being the face to go after Neville on 205.
I don't know if it's believable, but I'd love to see Neville beat the shit out of Enzo.
Obviously, Austin Aries isn't. He's
We'll
lost every time.
we'll talk about it on our next. We'll talk about it when we get into that match, and also when we get into our predictions. But we got Callisto, another potential
Can I just say
205
one more
guy.
thing?
Yeah,
One more thing. Imagine, though, Enzo winning the title and coming on Raw wearing the 205 belt as the manager of Big Cass
that would be
going
pretty
for the
dope.
title run.
That would be pretty dope.
Exactly.
Callisto and Apollo Crews are two other potential guys that could be involved in 205. That would be great. They need more
Yes.
exposure. They're great. But we
Yeah.
get Callisto versus
Kalisto can't wait for Sin Cara 7 to get up.
so yeah, so Callisto versus Titus O'Neil. Callisto's fighting, I guess, for retaliation for last week. Callisto controls the entire match, but when Callisto goes for the roll up, Titus is able to grab the tights and get the win. He goes for a pretty aggressive tight pull, but Apollo Crews questions Titus, but he says it doesn't matter. You got to stay on brand.
Yep.
Got to keep
I
that money
love that
rolling, man.
Titus. I love that Titus grabbed a handful of trunks for that pin. He's a heel. Do heel moves.
So okay, so not to go on another tangent. We'll keep this short. But is Apollo Crews going to turn heel, or is he going to betray the Titus brand and beat Titus up?
I think Titus is going to do something to where Apollo Crews doesn't realize it. Kind of like how Bailey, for instance, when she beat Charlotte, Sasha came out with the crutch and smacked Charlotte with it. Bailey was unaware and was like, I just won the title. Everyone else is like, you won the title because Sasha helped you.
Yeah.
After you just got done saying you can't win without Dana Brooks. And so I think Titus O'Neil will do something to help Apollo Crews win.
And
And
he'll
it's
buy
gonna
in.
and he's gonna buy in being like, dude, this is awesome. I'm winning.
What
My kids get braces.
what
It all works
what,
out.
What would he have to win though? The IC belt? He's not getting a
I
universal push.
I think he has to win the IC belt or get thrown down to 205 and win the 205
Dude,
belt.
Cruz, I could see a guy like Cruz being the Goldberg of 205. He just like he literally Neville and Austin. I actually would love to see a triple threat match between Aries, Neville, and Apollo Crews. That would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could throw Enzo on commentary with Corey Graves. Wouldn't that be perfect?
That would be crazy commentary.
They would just be talking shit to each other the whole time.
Yeah.
So then we get the Revival. We get their return out of nowhere. Dash and Dawson come out and get questioned as to where they've been. Dash shows off his latest dentistry work. His jaw is wired shut.
Yep.
That is like one injury I don't ever want to have. Besides testicular
No.
torsion, that's having my jaw wired shut. That's probably like second or third.
Yeah.
So I guess they're getting questioned about being involved in the attack on Enzo last week, and there's some footage of them backstage. The Revival quickly bail on the interview, and then Corey Graves questions what's going on. So I guess that might have to do with what he was showing Kurt earlier on.
Yeah. I think so. And I'm not one to get on the heels bandwagon, but God forbid two men go to work.
They're just
And they
trying to
get
make some
questioned.
cheddar.
Yeah. We're okay with Titus O'Neil doing it, but two other guys trying to go to work to make a living for their family, I feel like JBL right now.
Well, I think the difference though is like Cass is the only Cass likes Enzo. He's the only one. Like we don't give a shit if Enzo gets beat up. Well, I don't.
Enzo just needs to just not walk around by himself.
He is the greatest seller in the company right now.
He
You
is
hit
right up there next to Dolph Ziggler.
you hit him with one punch, and he's like, like him laying in that pile of boxes. He's just like, he looks legitimately dead.
Yeah, he
Uh,
dies easily. He's like a cockroach.
So yeah, so Corey Graves questions what's going on, and Cass is the only one that's seen the footage. Cass gets all pissed. I don't think he was doing that great of a job selling that, but whatever.
No, I didn't expect him to walk away so easily too.
Yeah, it's like what?
It's just like, no, Big Cass. I never thought it was you. Okay then, bye. It's like what?
What was the point? So Enzo's attacked again, and Cass gets even more pissed. He thinks it's obvious that it's the revival, but I mean, I guess that makes sense since Braun isn't at the show. I mean, Braun's been rehabbing.
You know what I would love to see, and it would be hilarious, and they would never do it. Before they bring Braun back, just randomly show back people walking backstage, and you see ambulances, but every time something different with it. Like the first week, you see Titus O'Neil walk by, and he double takes an ambulance on cinder blocks. Or the next week, Roman Reigns walks by, and the doors are ripped off of an ambulance. The next week, an ambulance is flipped over. Like, build it up to where he's just destroying anything that's medically sound.
That's a lot of property damage.
They can afford it.
So,
but how hilarious would that be?
That would be pretty great. So Cass thinks it's obvious that it's the revival, but Kurt Angle says that they have to wait for all the facts. I guess. I mean, due process exists in the WWE under Kurt Angle's rule of law, and but Cass is not having any of that. And he walks away.
Backstage justice.
He walks away all pissed off. So then we get the trip down memory lane. This Is Your Life with Bayley and Alexa Bliss and Mother of God. Spoiler alert, I was watching this on DVR, so I fast forwarded through a lot of this. Like I would watch
such potential.
I would watch like 10 seconds and be like, nope. Like this is.
It had such potential, but it was such a joke.
It was.
Let me just tell you about what these people's now. If you and I'm sorry if any of these names are actually our viewers' names, but if your parents named you, your teacher named Mrs. Flapper, or a girl named Tracy Javelina, but I think Javelina is like an animal.
Hyena?
Or yeah. Like one of the best porn names you could think of, Phil Johnson. Come on.
Yeah, it was. I don't even want to talk about this. This is terrible. Even Bliss and her. I kind of want to get Jess's opinion on this, but even Bliss's amazing skills could not save this. I got to assume this was the creative that wanted to do this, and Bliss.
It was a joke.
Bliss should have noped out of that. Bayley comes out and attacks Bliss and puts this promo to bed. Bayley goes for the kendo stick that's on the pole for display before the pay-per-view, like the Money in the Bank briefcase. And Bliss knocks her down and then grabs a backup stick she has hidden under the table, which, I mean, come on, that's what you should do. Look don't jump for the one that's on the pole. Go under the ring at least.
That's why she's a good heel.
But Bliss whacks Bayley again, and then thank God we cut to commercial.
Yeah, it was a joke. Like, I don't even understand what they were trying to prove with it.
Yeah.
Like, really? You got the Phil and Tracy people be like...
They're trying to make Bayley all sympathetic. The only time this ever worked was when Rock and Mankind did it.
Yeah.
And it was obviously...
Or every time Sami Zayn's on television. You sympathize from getting his beat. I'll tell you this much. I'll go on a limb and say, you know what? Enzo's not the best seller. Sami Zayn is the best seller. Watching him on his knees, half dead, just taking punch after punch. Like,
Sammy
it
is
hurts to
probably the best
watch.
one. Enzo's like probably second or third.
I
Uh,
go I go into every Sami Zayn match being like, you know what? I'm tired of watching Sami Zayn get beat up. And then you just see him before I'm like, it hurt to watch, just like it hurt watching Brock Lesnar suplex City John Cena 16 times or whatever it was
oh,
during that
German
SummerSlam
suplex,
match.
yeah.
Yeah. But watching Braun Strowman just beat Sammy down as he's on his knees, kind of looking like, is that all you got? And teeth are flying out of his mouth. Maybe some brain
Yeah,
cells.
well, definitely some brain cells. Uh,
But like you watch that, and then you watch him get beat up by like Baron Corbin,
he takes a
Kalisto,
boot
everyone
and he's
else.
just dead. Well,
Like
speaking of
he sells to
somebody,
death so much.
speaking of somebody that has beat a lot of people up, we got Goldust, another Goldust production. Goldust returns and he lets everyone know that R-Truth was holding him back, and worse of all, he knew it. He knew it. So let's see.
He knew it.
Um, so the end of their partnership was not going to be happy or sad. It's going to be, you guessed it, golden. uh, I don't even know what that means, but with Gold Dust, you know, he's on a whole nother plane of existence.
He is. I just hope we get more of this original Gold Dust. I love the original Gold Dust, and I
Then
hope something comes from it too.
then we get R-Truth responding with his own vignette. Growing up, he was inspired by characters he saw on the big screen, Shaft, Dolomite, and all these other famous black exploitation characters, and that he's gonna go old school on Goldust punk ass at Extreme Rules. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm glad they're letting rest these old school guys, but really anybody do some pre-taped stuff. It lets some of the lower card superstars get some TV time without having an entire match. So
Yeah,
I mean, they got. I mean, the success of the Fashion Files should show that this stuff can work.
they can.
Um,
It's something different too, instead of just watching back and forth booking too.
yep. Give me just a second. I'm gonna. How is the call quality okay? 'Cause-
It's getting better. You were kind of cutting in and out during the Gold Dust thing.
oh, was I? Well, I think my mic should be picking up everything, so it shouldn't matter. Yeah,
That's what I figured.
my connection's okay. Whatever. I don't
Okay.
know. Uh, all right.
Stacy
My
will cut that.
my computer's freaking out a little bit. Sorry to the people watching the stream, but some technical difficulties on episode 10, but we'll get through it. So then we get Austin Aries and Jack Gallagher versus Neville and TJP. Neville beats down Gallagher. Neville taunts Aries until he finally gets tagged in. Aries tries to land the discus five arm, but TJP stops him. Uh, Jack launches over to TJP, and Aries then is allowed to land the suicide dive. Um, Aries then looks to lock in the last chancery, and he actually does get it, and Neville's forced to tap. So is this a
Yeah,
preview of what we're going to see at Extreme Rules?
I hope so. I hope so.
I
Austin
think
Aries needs a
so.
win.
Yeah.
He needs a win. He's
You know,
lost three times, I think.
I'm okay with them. I'm okay with them flipping the belt, and then if they make this eventually 50-50 booking, I would be okay with that because I think both of these guys are championship quality as far as 205 is concerned. So if they keep flipping the belt back and forth, fine by me. But it is time for Austin to win one.
Yeah, he's got to win one. He can't be the next Bray Wyatt on 205.
Well, he's not billed as an underdog, so I got to assume he has to be winning soon. And that move is really awesome.
Hmm.
Then we get our main event: Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, and this was pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised. Seth controls the match until Reigns gets a little bit of control back using his power, but they're both selling their injuries. Uh,
Yeah.
Roman eventually hits a Superman punch while Rollins is jumping off the top rope. That was a pretty cool spot. Uh, then Reigns goes for some kind of superplex, but Rollins is able to counter and throws Reigns into another ring post. Reigns is able to carry some momentum from that shot and hits a Superman punch. So once again, they're definitely building both of them up to be able to take each other's shots. I'm hoping this is building to something though. I hope this isn't just going to be a one-off thing.
I mean, but like I was saying before, though, I feel like it has to be kind of a one-off thing,
Yeah.
just because if it's a like a long running program, someone's gonna have to turn.
Well, I think they're gonna. I don't necessarily think this is gonna be a feud, but I think they're gonna have matches off and on.
Yeah,
And
and if they do off and on,
this might build into something. It won't turn into an actual feud unless if and when
I hope it doesn't for like years
no,
down the road.
But if Dean gets involved, it turns into a feud. It turns into a legitimate feud. If they get
But
the entirety of the Shield involved, then I would say that obviously there's some kind of storyline that they're going.
I only want to see it though when it comes to one of them holding a belt. When
Well,
one
that's
of them
what I
holds
mean.
the title belt,
Yeah, they'll be
then
fighting for the belt. Whether it's the IC belt or the Universal belt, I could definitely see the Shield doing something, getting back together to try to win 3 belts or whatever, and then they all
mhm.
break apart because everyone wants it for themselves.
Because
Uh,
they're all on Raw, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So Seth throws Reigns into the steel steps and then lands a blockbuster, but can't get the pin. Rollins then hits a frog splash, but Reigns is still able to kick out. So they're definitely booking Reigns to be Superman.
Yeah.
Rollins then goes for the Phoenix Splash, but Rollins gets out of the way. He then hits the spear out of nowhere to get the win. I didn't
Yep.
like the finish, but I liked the match. Is essentially what it was. I think I know the thing that really makes me dislike Reigns besides the booking and besides his promo stuff. I think the ultimate thing that makes me that's like another negative in the Reigns box is the way his matches typically finish, and I think it's similar to why I don't like Randy Orton. I'm tired of the finisher out of nowhere.
Mhm.
If that's your only move, because that's how every single one of your matches is going to end. It's going to end in a spear out of nowhere, or it's going to end in an RKO, a literal RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Uh,
See,
and the Superman punch is the worst. The Superman punch is the worst.
I
But
see where you're coming from, and I agree because there was a while I didn't like John Cena when he was a face, and it was just because he would sell the beat down, and all of a sudden he would just do like
he'd hit the
a
AA.
ridiculous push up, come out of nowhere, 3 shoulder blocks, 5 knuckle shuffle, AA, and it's over. I'm like, where did that energy come from? There was no Hulk Hogan build up.
Like,
There was no random seizure in the middle of the ring to get your strength back. Like you just came out,
you
you just
gotta
like, you know what?
you gotta summon your fighting spirit.
Yeah, it was like there was no there like Goku for 3 episodes holding up a spirit bomb, waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
Like he just pops up out of nowhere. And same with the spear. Like I feel like those moves you have to build it up. I could see maybe like Superman punch out of nowhere. I can definitely see the RKO out of nowhere because all it is a diamond
Well,
cutter.
I can see it makes sense for the spear to be a surprise move, but what I'm saying
But
is
you gotta build distance.
I don't like how like what you're saying. I don't like how it just completely changes the momentum of the match. You can have a surprise finisher like the stunner,
Yeah.
but you know the
I see the close quarter surprise move, the RKO, the Superman punch, the AA maybe, but I don't see a spear as a surprise move. I mean, we watched him hit rope to rope on the Undertaker, and the Undertaker's like, no, I'm tired of turning.
Yeah, well, Undertaker probably couldn't turn at the time. Uh,
But you don't just break a hold and spear someone out of nowhere. That's a
yeah,
spine buster.
yeah. I'm. The match was good enough though to where I'd like to see more. So it wouldn't shock me the next time Rollins goes over. I mean, also, I think
Well,
doesn't look the spear and the Superman punch don't look that great when you're comparing it to Seth Rollins and all the crazy stuff that he does every match. Like he does the strong suplex maneuvers, but then he does a blockbuster or a Phoenix Splash or Falcon Arrow, and it's like, really, you're gonna come back with the Superman punch? That's the best you got. That's your ultimate your ultimate attack. Um,
I really wanted to see Goldberg Roman. I wanted to see spear versus spear. Who's going to get up?
they both spear each other at the same time, and the arena explodes.
That's what I wanted to see. I thought that would have been a great match, but
It's like
obviously we can't.
Hulk and Juggernaut.
Yes.
So that was the end of SmackDown, or I'm sorry, the end of Raw. I thought it was okay. I mean, that one segment, the Bailey Alexa Bliss segment in the middle, kind of killed the momentum, and the
What
stuff with
momentum?
Enzo,
Yes.
and the stuff with Enzo's kind of like, where is this going? Let's
Yep. The only good backstage scene was Goldust.
yeah, yeah, and that was a pre-taped vignette.
Yeah, I did love though the Pulp Fiction
Yeah,
with R-Truth.
yeah. Our Truth's amazing. I
Yes.
hope they do more stuff with him. So then we get to
I did too.
SmackDown, and we start out with the United States Champion and new face of America, Kevin Owens' highlight reel, and that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
He's going to do what Y2J couldn't, and that's win the Money in the Bank. He'll then be the face of the entire WWE. He
I
then
think
well,
Y2J won the first Money in the Bank though.
I don't think he ever has.
You don't think he has?
I don't think he has.
I know he was in the first one. I'll have
Yeah.
to go through my Rolodex of
Your
sources.
Rolodex. Uh, Kids, that's a thing where you put all of your contacts into this paper contraption, and then you use the dials on the end to flip through them, and usually they're sorted in alphabetical order. That's what Dapper is referring to.
Yes.
Tune into to his new show. That old guy has some stuff that he wants to show.
Okay. We have way
we're,
too
we're,
many shows.
we're still working on the title. Uh, so he then welcomes Shinsuke to the highlight reel. KO has a look of disgust on his face as he watches the King of Strong Style do his entrance. He's just like, I love KO. His antics is just so great. Uh,
Yes.
After the music stops, KO lets Nakamura know why he's really there. KO wants to know more about Nakamura. He ended one Rockstar's career in Y2J, so he wants to do it again to Shinsuke if he shows up to the Money in the Bank.
Oh, and I found it out. Chris Jericho pitched the idea,
Ah.
but Edge was the first ever Money in the Bank winner.
So he was like, a Canadian should always win it, and KO is a
Yeah.
Canadian, so
Yeah.
maybe it'll
There's
be
a chance.
Sami Zayn or KO. It always has to be a Canadian. Um, that's the ultimate stipulation. So yeah, he's gonna essentially kill Shinsuke because he says that's when the music will really die. Uh, a wild Baron Corbin enters, and before Shinsuke can say anything, so once again, Shinsuke never gets to talk. We then get a replay of his beatdown on Sami Zayn. KO lets Corbin know, and I love this part. that if he considers that a highlight, then he's got a lot of work to do because KO has had 15 years worth of that material on beating up Sami Zayn. So get the hell out of here.
Hmm.
Corbin calls KO Cartman, and then everyone laughs. Shinsuke then reminds both heels lost recently, and they jump Shinsuke. So Shinsuke's just like, I'm pretty sure you guys lost. And the heels are just like, nah, dog. Punch. Sami Zayn then comes out and tries to help. Sami then issues a challenge to the heels. We cut to commercial, and then we get our first match, which is a tag team match.
Yeah.
We get to watch Nakamura beat the crap out of Corbin, and then Sami gets tagged in. Corbin escapes and tags in KO. KO and Sami fight forever until Corbin gets tagged and starts beating down Sami. So the heels start beating down the face. We then get a prolonged sequence of Sami getting beat up and him selling. Just
Him
like
selling the death look.
Yeah. Sami lands a desperation Blue Thunder Bomb, but can't quite make the tag. Corbin lands a serious spine buster and almost gets rolled up, but can't get the pin. He yells at the ref until Zayn and KO get tagged.
Did you hear that though, CJ? The first time you've mentioned Blue Thunder Bomb without Jess's ignorant comments.
I could say it in one breath.
Yes.
Shinsuke gets the momentum when all of a sudden Corbin interrupts a pin. Sami runs in and throws KO into Corbin. The heels then fight each other, and this allows Shinsuke to land the Kinshasa on KO and gets the pin. So 2 weeks in a row, the United States champion eats a clean pin by Shinsuke. Maybe they're foreshadowing something.
Maybe. I'll tell you this much, though. These matches on SmackDown with Shinsuke, so much better than the Backlash pay-per-view.
That's what I was. That's exactly what I was saying. I was like, this hype for that pay-per-view match was never going to be a satisfactory unless it was like a 5-star match. And yeah. I'm not saying that Dolph can't do that, but that match was not a 5-star match. I don't know really who to blame on both ends, but it was lackluster. But now that Shinsuke's allowed to fight every week, we're reminded about why he's so good. Because we actually get to see him fight.
Pretty much.
And maybe it was ring rust. I know he was doing some dark matches, so I don't know what the hell happened with that Backlash match.
I think it was just 50-50 booking.
Yeah.
You got to let him get beat down so he can come up, and it's too much. Too much.
So then we get an Usos promo, and they spit some fire until dun 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 dun. New Day rocks. New Day rocks. New Day finally show up after like a 2 months long worth of teasers. Lana hasn't showed up yet, and Rusev have not shown up yet, but the New Day has. So I guess
they're still working on Border Patrol.
Who was hurt?
I want to say it was.
It wasn't Kofi. Was it Xavier?
Kofi Kingston. I think it was Kofi Kingston with an ankle.
Yeah, I think it was his ankle. It was done by the Revival, and then the Revival immediately broke their jaw.
Yeah.
Maybe it was retaliation. So both teams go back and forth. The Usos tell the New Day to drop this positivity act because they in the penitentiary, dog.
Yes. I love, this was the best part of the promo too, when they're like, you're in the Uso penitentiary, and all the New Day are like,
we know what happens in the penitentiary.
Dude, relax. This is PG. We're PG. But then you have Big E come lean in. He's like, we wants it, we takes it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, damn. That was the best part of the promo.
Yeah, well, I also loved how they're like, we know what goes on at a penitentiary. And we just wanted
Xavier
to let...
Woods knows what goes on at the penitentiary.
And they just wanted to let the Usos know who's going to be their opponent at Extreme Rules. Who?
Mm-hmm.
Who? Why the New Day, of course.
Of course.
I can't help but wonder though, are the Fashion Police, why are they not coming out and calling out everybody on their wardrobe and getting involved in this?
Because they've lost 3 days in a row
I
to the
know.
champ.
I'm so sad. I'm so
It
sad.
would have been. I would have been sad too if they didn't come out with all the gimmicks, like the janitor, the old lady.
Well, we get as
It's
soon as we're done with the New Day surprise comeback, we get the Fashion Files noir style.
yes,
We get a new episode of the best spinoff in potential all of WWE history, and this episode is in black and white, and it has Fandango down on his luck and narrating. How are they going to recover after letting the biggest case slip out of their hands? He then finds their headquarters destroyed by what looks to be a femme fatale, but
yeah,
it turns out to be Tyler Breeze in disguise.
ridiculous.
uh, they ponder on who could have done this kind of damage, and they find a cologne bottle and taste ethanol alcohol. So,
With
who?
with hibiscus.
Yeah, with hibiscus, with shades of hibiscus. So, the question I pose to you and our listeners out there: who messed up their office? It has to be the Cologne Brothers,
Obviously,
right?
had to be the Cologne brothers
Yeah, it had to be the
from
Cologne
Puerto
Brothers. Come on.
Rico.
Uh, I mean, they did tease the Ascension last
Yeah,
episode, but they were
I
like
did. I
they're
will
like
say this
huffing
though.
paint.
Yeah, because I know we're gonna get into the Breezango Colognes match.
Yeah.
I liked the way they did the Breezango match this time. I I liked how it started off with Fandango, Tyler Breeze. They're fighting. Tyler Breeze gets knocked down. He's tired. Goes off the side of the ring, and then all of a sudden, he comes up as the janitor. Like that, I like. Don't start with the janitor and then substitute in with the old lady. And then I'm like, come on, only mankind
we'll
could
get
do
to
it.
that match. We'll get to that match. So, but yeah, I think it's pretty obvious the Colognes
Our
destroyed the
jobbers.
office, but we'll see. Yeah, and their jobbers. But then we get the women's five-way elimination match to decide the number one contender.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that was a thing.
yeah, that was a thing. So Charlotte Flair comes out first. Then James Ellsworth introduces Carmella. Tamina, the only reason why I wanted to speak about the actual entrances was to bring this up. Tamina comes out, and I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've actually heard her entrance. And holy crap, is it terrible!
You don't like the Samoan chants?
It, oh man, it does not sound good.
Of course not. It's been sitting there for 4, 5 years, dust built all over it. This is the second time they've used it in a decade.
Yeah, so then Natalia and Becky Lynch come out, and before the match even starts, everybody starts brawling. Becky lands a spot off the barrier and onto Carmella. The ref is acting like a little bitch and can't even start the match. He's just like, ladies, come
Just
on.
ring the bell.
Yeah, just come on,
Ring the
just ring the
bell.
bell.
It would have been
Tamina,
great if, like, we can't start the match until you're all in the ring.
yeah.
And then you see, like, Tamina grab the ring bell and just smack Charlotte in the face with, like, the match has started.
Tamina then grabs the table and is about to put Charlotte through it when Charlotte's able to counter. Flair then hits a moonsault onto Natalia and Tamina, which was pretty cool. I mean, come on, moonsaults are always amazing.
Yeah.
Uh,
The one thing I hated, though.
and Nia Jax wasn't there to botch it.
Oh, thank God. The one thing that I hated about this, whatever you want to call it, match, segment,
Clusterfuck.
every time they got near the table, it was shoosh, shoosh, like we're just throwing papers. It's like, did you really need to put your hands on the table to signify that you're going to put someone through a table?
Yeah.
Like I wanted to hear one of the announcers, the commentators, just go, "What did my notes ever do to you?"
Yeah.
Like, Like, I
Uh,
don't get it. The table's cleared. It's been cleared by Tamina the first time.
Carmella lands a high risk spot. Then Becky lands a slam onto Carmella. Tamina takes out Lynch, and then Tamina is taken out by Natalia. So they're all just going back and forth.
Yep,
Uh,
high spot.
F-
Spot monkeys,
Flair,
as the Broken used to say.
then we get the spot of the match where Flair goes heel by putting Natalia through the table with a power bomb. That was pretty nuts.
Yeah, because she was probably the only one that was brave enough to take the bump.
So everyone is knocked out, and we still haven't gotten the bell to ring for the match. So I honestly thought we were going to get a restart, and everybody was going to have to fight again. But Shane O'Mac comes out, and he lets the ladies know that instead of deciding now, because they obviously can't, they've just murdered each other. I thought he was going to say, nope, ring the bell, we're starting now. Nope, instead we're going to get our first women's only Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yeah. And
Char-
can I say something that I heard, which would be amazing?
Go
I
right
know they'll
ahead.
never do it.
You're allowed to speak your thoughts on the show, Dapper.
I heard a rumor that during the Money in the Bank match, all the women are gonna fight. James Ellsworth was gonna crawl up to get it
Oh my god.
and be the SmackDown
number one
Live
contender.
Women's Champion.
Oh my. No. Well, they're not going to get the belt.
Oh, well, the number
The
one
number
contender for it.
Yeah.
Could
So-
you imagine if they actually allowed that to happen?
There's no way in hell that happens, but that would be hilarious. That
And-
can only
but what
happen
if-
though. That can only happen if Becky Lynch is the champ, because Becky wants to beat the shit out of Ellsworth very badly.
Well, what if they have their own briefcase? And he's just like, I got a briefcase. So you cashing in for the women's? No. I'm coming for you, Braun. Or Brock. Like, he's just...
He switches
Like,
to Raw and beats
what if- yeah,
Brock
like,
Lesnar. That'd be
what if-
amazing.
What if the Money in the Bank is the time warp loophole that can allow you to jump from one ship to another?
That would be interesting.
The rules are you can go for any belt you
I
want.
I think the one stipulation would be because it's a SmackDown only pay-per-view, you can only go for SmackDown titles. If they were to open it up to any belt on any show,
that was
then-
the original Money in the Bank.
Well, what?
was
Yeah.
you can go for any belt.
Well, what I'm saying is they'd have to make it a joint pay-per-view, and then it could legitimately be. That's how I would solve that.
But how would you? Well, imagine though. Let's say, I don't know. I know we're gonna go into predictions. I'm just gonna pick someone random from the match. But let's say, Shinsuke wins the Money in the Bank, and he just random you're sitting there, Great Balls of Fire's happening. Brock's getting beat down, and then somehow beats whoever he's gonna fight for the Universal title. Brock stands there, Paul Heyman holding his hands up. All of a sudden, the violin hits.
That would be
And
nuts.
Shinsuke comes running down with the Money in the Bank.
That's probably what they should do. They should make it a joint. They should either make it a joint pay-per-view and allow, I would say, do it like New Japan. Have a tournament. You have a Raw tournament, and then you have.
That's what I've been saying since day one of this draft.
Have a Raw tournament and a SmackDown tournament, and then the winners of those tournaments, like let's say, the top 3 or top 4 from each brand, and hell, you could even throw in 205 into the mix or NXT. Like, you kind of make it a Royal Rumble, and then because that briefcase can be used on any belt. It doesn't have to be the main belt.
It doesn't. Everyone's been using it on the main belt. But what if someone, I don't know, what if Ellsworth took it and went to 205?
Yeah, you can do that. But
I want to see someone do it.
But
I
then,
wanna see a fuss
you take like the top 8 or whatever from both brands, 6 or 8, however many people you want to do it, and make that the main Money in the Bank ladder match.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just total chaos. Because then what you're saying they could do, I think because it's a SmackDown only brand though, they're gonna keep it like SmackDown only.
I don't think they should. I think they should, because just imagine the pop.
But what I'm saying, that's what the rules.
That's
are
what
now.
they're going to do.
Yeah.
I know they're going to keep it on SmackDown and only allow them to interfere on SmackDown pay-per-views with the Money in the Bank briefcase. But how cool would that be if you're watching a
It would be
Raw
cool. It would be.
and Shinsuke came out to cash in, or someone came out to cash in, and
Oh,
you're like,
that would be
"Oh my
nuts.
God, does this mean Shinsuke's on Raw?"
You know what they should also do? They should technically allow somebody to carry it for however long they want. Like if you wanted to hold that thing for 2 years, you could.
Well,
And
it's got to
you
go
no
for
no
a
no
year.
no no, and then you have multiple briefcases because somebody held on to theirs for way too long. They basically like put it under their bed and forgot about it, and then you have like the next Money in the Bank. So then you have two potential cash-ins at any time.
That would be neat though if someone cashed in on the title and he's like, "Yes," and
And
then
then
another
immediately
music
gets
hit.
cashed in on.
That would be cool.
You
That'll.
You
I feel
forgot
my
about me?
idea.
Like if Stone
I,
Cold had his from like 97? His
I
King of the
feel.
Ring?
I feel like my idea was a little more plausible than a 14-year Money in the Bank hold, but I like where your head's at.
Well, I'm saying like they could start it now. Like Sammy wins and then he just holds on to it
Never
forever.
cashes in.
Yeah, he never cashes in because he knows that creative is never going to let him actually win. So he waits until he gets a push and then he's like, oh, hey, by the way, guys, I got this briefcase. Are you guys ready to let me win?
Yep.
So then we
Oh,
get
man.
Breezango versus the Colognes. Breezango comes out still in their attire from the Fashion Files. Breezango has Fandango has the trench coat on, and Breeze is dressed up like the femme fatale. Primo can't deal with Breeze being in a dress, and he rips it off. I don't know what that says about him, but
I'm actually wondering if they're trying to make this kind of like a homosexual thing, because did you notice during the Fashion Files, he's like, why is he still undercover? And then Tyler Breeze is like, oh, thank God he thinks I'm still undercover.
I think they were just playing that up for laughs. But
I don't know.
uh, Fandango gets tagged in, and he has to use his squirt gun to counter a roll up. Breeze pulls out his too, and the Fashion Police are able to throw the Cologne brothers to the outside. During the commercial, the Colognes are able to gain momentum because they did that little, just how our setup is. They did the picture in picture.
Yeah.
During the commercial, they just mute the commentary, so I don't have to hear JBL. It's kind of a godsend.
Uh,
But
I just wish they did it every SmackDown.
or every commercial break.
Yes, that
uh,
too.
so yeah, during the commercial, the Colognes are able to get the momentum and slow things down on Fandango. Breeze disappears for a while, and it looks like Fandango has no one to tag in until the janitor shows up. So you were talking about this earlier. Breeze is doing well when all of a sudden one half of the Cologne starts fighting with Fandango over the mop. This distracts everybody long enough for Breeze to hit his finisher and get the win.
Yep.
So they lost at the last pay-per-view, but they got an immediate win again. So I'm guessing that's pointing to creative not being quite finished with Fandango quite yet, or Breezango, I should say.
Yeah, they're still, because they sell T-shirts. Jess buys all their T-shirts, but they sell them.
So then we get an AJ Styles interview. AJ lays out the outline of what's going to happen with this fight with Dolph when all of a sudden Dolph interrupts. AJ's ready to go, but then Dolph just walks away. So Dolph just interrupts, and then he's just like, peace, I just wanted to fuck with you.
Yeah, I hope they do something, because like with the Shinsuke match, you have Dolph losing to everybody. It's not really giving his promos like any credit or merit. Like, I love what they did with this Ziggler AJ Styles match. No spoilers until we get to it, but
Well, we only got one thing left to go over, and that's the Randy Orton interview.
and I loved the promo.
Well, was this the first interview he's given since losing to Ginger? Because didn't he come
Yeah.
out? He came out to the ring and like talked to the audience or he talked to the arena and the audience, obviously, watching on TV. But I think this is technically the first interview, and he just says that gender sucks. That's essentially what he says. Gender sucks.
Well, before he did like a little promo where he's like, we don't like you because we're ignorant. You're an ass. That's why we don't like you. Like he did all that stuff. But then what I loved about this promo is, and I know you might appreciate it, maybe you didn't notice it, he wasn't so robotic when they allowed him to talk about his family and his legacy.
Yeah.
To where he's like, my dad's was in the first WrestleMania. My grandpa was in the time when they didn't talk. They just beat your ass.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's what I'm going to do to Jinder, is I'm going to beat him down, and I'm going to become the 14th time champion. And
I'm going to let you finish, but Jinder comes out and interrupts just like that.
He does.
And he has a response from backstage. Randy is just living off the past. Jinder is the present and the future.
The angry present.
As the Bollywood boys awkwardly clap.
You know what I want to see, though? Just like how we talked about with the Raw, where Samoa Joe just turns off Bray Wyatt. I just wanted to see as he's doing his spiel, because it never seems like they see the person in the ring. They're just talking. And I think they've done this in the past, but as he's talking and the Bollywood boys are just clapping.
So weird.
Randy Orton just says, that's it, and just goes back there. And he's like, so yes, Randy, I'm going to come at you with a, oh God, oh God.
RKO out of nowhere.
He just beats him down.
Well, what I loved is not only are the Bollywood boys clapping like right into their microphones, the camera starts zooming in on Jinder's face. Like, if you haven't seen this, you need to. I'll try to find it and link it in the description of all our videos. But oh my God, it was terrible. I don't know what the hell. Were all the creatives drunk this week? First we had the awkward Bailey and Bliss promo, and then we had this ending to this. Yeah, that made me laugh out loud. And then Orton stares at the screen, so they pan back to Orton, and he's just doing this. And then out of nowhere, he starts doing his pose, and there's like no music playing, or the commentators aren't saying anything. He just walks over to the corner and
does his pose.
And then finally his music hits and we go to commercial. So there's like
I feel
a good 30 seconds to a minute to where there was like nothing.
Because I feel like Jinder's things are just weird. Like, why is he always angry? Why is he always scrunching up his face?
Well, because he's jacked up, man. He's on protein.
Like, I don't understand why he's so angry. And then he just
you don't get angry when you drink a protein shake. Come on, man.
and then it's like he always makes it an American thing. Randy Orton's like, I'm gonna beat your ass, Jinder, and he's like, you American pigs, and all that stuff. I'm like, we heard enough of it with Rusev.
I mean,
like,
they've been doing it since the 80s, man.
I know, but it's just like. That's probably why Randy was just... Because Randy seems like he's kind of like the Daniel Bryan of Talk... what is it? SmackDown Talk Live or whatever?
Talking Smack.
Talking Smack. Where he's just like, I'm done following the script. He's probably just like, you know what, Jinder? I'm over this. I'm just going to go to my pose. And that's it.
Talking Down Smack Live is the show, according to Dapper.
SmackDown Talk Live.
So Dolph Ziggler and AJ Styles, we get our main event, and AJ starts the match out strong until he runs into the ring post, ribs first. Both shows using the ring post to its full potential. After commercial, Styles gets the momentum back after hitting Ziggler with some signature moves. Ziggler tries to use the ropes to get a cheap win, but the ref sees it and is just like immediately like, get the hell out of here with that bullshit. Yeah, AJ is too high up on the card for you to win that way. So then there's a fireman's carry neck breaker, and Styles almost gets the win. That thing was nasty. I was like, that made me cringe. AJ then goes for what seems to be the Styles Clash off the middle rope, which I want to see that now.
It would probably kill somebody.
Yeah, it would break their face. But Ziggler counters with the DDT. Ziggler then hits a nasty headbutt, but AJ's able to land the backbreaker, and both men are down. Dolph goes for the superplex, but AJ slides out of it. Styles then locks in the calf crusher, the rarely used signature submission move that he has. And then Ziggler looks to be close to tapping out until I guess he was able to rake AJ in the eyes and the ref didn't see him.
Yep.
Dolph lands a zigzag and gets a near fall. AJ then goes for the phenomenal forearm, but Dolph pushes him off the ropes. Ziggler then lands a super kick and is able to get a clean pin.
Don't forget, he tuned up that band. That's the only way the super kick works. Is you got to tune up that band.
You gotta tune it up. And he gets the clean pin on Styles in his home state.
Yes. This is what I'm talking about. They're giving Dolph credibility.
Again, he has been a champion.
He needs it.
The commentary keeps instantly reminding us every single time they talk about Dolph and the Money in the Bank. Oh yeah, Dolph was the only one that's won it, and he actually cashed in and won. But Dolph is a great worker. He's a great heel. He does great work. You know, his matches, if for some reason, seem to be underwhelming lately from my perspective. But I know he has the potential to put on great work, and he's kind of like languished in the mid card. I distinctly remember him having a match against Apollo Crews where it was like a nothing but chairs match. What the fuck was that? So
it's time filler.
So I'm glad that Dolph is able to work with somebody like AJ. AJ, everybody knows, can make a wet piece of toilet paper look great in the ring. So because Dolph actually does have some moves, they're able to put on
calling Dolph Ziggler a wet piece of toilet paper.
No, I'm saying AJ Styles could make that work in the ring, but because Dolph is good. It was probably a 3.5, 4-star match on a SmackDown, which.
That's why. Did you ever see that link I sent you of the one wrestler? Speaking of wrestling a wet piece of toilet paper, he wrestled a blow up sex doll.
No, I need to find that. I'll have to rewatch.
We can review that.
Yeah.
In one of our one of our up and coming shows, match reviews.
So yeah, I thought SmackDown was pretty good build up for the Money in the Bank. Raw could definitely use a little bit of work. I'm hoping Extreme Rules shakes some things up. But tune in to our next episode for our Extreme Rules predictions.
And I just wanted to tell you, this is how confident I am.
Okay, how
in
confident
being the two-time champ. So confident, I've had this built for my title belt to come home with me.
Look at that.
It is now official. It'll be home with the original.
You're gonna have to change your setup though, so that we can see the belt in the background. Or
I will.
Or remember though, once you find a place to hang that up, when you lose, you have to take the belt out and still display the empty case. So just remember that. Just remember that.
I won't lose.
Oh, okay.
I won't lose.
You heard it here first, folks. For those that are listening to the audio podcast, Dapper has bought a glass frame encasement for a championship belt, presumably the predictions belt, but it's something that you can use for any kind of replica belt.
Oh no, it's only for the championship predictions belt.
Well, I'm saying though, but like anybody could buy one and put their own belts.
Anyone else could buy it.
Well,
but I have specifically got the measurements for my predictions belt, and just so happens Jess had to cheap shop me, take it from me while the belt case was on the mail. In the mail.
Tune into our next episode to find out what predictions we actually have for Extreme Rules. There are some interesting matches on that card. And then tune in to our Extreme Rules review, which will be episode 12, to find out who does win our predictions contest.
And
we'll
watch
find
that belt
out.
come back home.
And thanks for watching episode 10 of Kayfabe's Not
Yep.
Dead. Give us a like, hit us up on email,
Yep.
or
Double
Reddit,
digits.
or wherever you find us. Definitely give us some feedback. We're always trying to fine tune everything and make things as best as we can. And have a good one.